What's up, YouTube land? It's your boy Anton, aka Dr. Mix-a-Lot. And this is another entry into the Docs Mix-Ups blogs, which is a collection of my experiences that I use to um, that have made me a better mobile bartender business owner. And I want to pass on some of these lessons to you in some of these video shorts. Now, today's topic is about making sure that you charge a deposit and you charge late fees. I can't tell you enough how the power and psychology of charging a deposit. I have different bartenders that do different things. It depends on your philosophy. Some bartenders like to charge totally up front before they even take an event. Other bartenders like to collect everything at the end once the services are rendered. I choose to have more of a hybrid model in which I collect a deposit. It's usually no more than 30%. But you can charge as much as you want to. It just depends on what you can get away with. But I usually like to charge the deposit just to get things booked and then have the rest of the money collected at the end. Once services are rendered to the customer, everybody's fine. Everybody has already agreed that the services have been rendered properly and therefore you can be paid. And the reason I do this, one is because for many reasons, but the primary reasons are the power of somebody actually putting their money down, putting their skin in the game, as they say. That's huge when it comes to weeding out what kind of leads you want to work with and turn into potential customers. Again, like I said, on even on some of your best years, you're really probably only going to book maybe 1 2 out of 5 to 7 leads that come across your desk or your platform at any given time. So you want to make sure you're very judicious with your time in pursuing these leads. And the best way to do that is to make sure that, hey, if they're really willing to work with you, they are willing to put a deposit down. I quite personally don't consider anybody a customer until they put a deposit down. And trust me, I've been burned before where I have spent days or weeks talking and negotiating with a customer, all for it to come to nothing because they never put the deposit down and they totally forgot about me. So again, I really try to press putting the deposit down before I get too much into helping people with everything about their party. Obviously, you want to be as helpful as possible, but you also don't want to get finagled into planning their event and then they go off with some other bartender just because they felt like they could get some more out of that for a cheaper price. We're doing business when I get a deposit from that customer. At the same time, you also want to enforce late fees. Particularly, I have late fees when it comes to people that want to book parties within 48 hours of the event, and also for people that fail to pay their final payment at the end of the party. If it takes too long, maybe 2 or 3 days, I make sure that I start charging late fees on top of that. Now, with the former, with late fees for events booked within 48 hours, you will thank me later because if anything, those are the leads you want to avoid the most. Anybody that calls you within a week, be wary of, though it happens and it's fine. I booked a lot of customers like that. With that said, there's usually a certain type of customer that calls within a week to book the event. And unfortunately, they're usually on their heels, scrambling, waited till the last minute. I'll forgive some of my customers now because it's COVID times, very unpredictable. That's understandable. But normally, when customers call right before their event, they're usually kind of hair on fire, trying to make anything work, and they're going to suck you into that black hole. And trust me, 9 times out of 10, I don't know what it is. Any customer that's called me within 3 to 4 days of an event, I never usually hear from them again. After they got me all in a frenzy to get their stuff together, never hear from them again. Or if I call them back, they almost totally forgot they called me. So with that said, make people put their money where their mouth is. If you want to do this event, it's a lot on me for me to book myself or other bartenders within 48 hours. Make sure you charge them a late fee and collect that deposit and that late fee up front. That way they put their money where their mouth is, and then we can do business together, and it may be worth the hassle of you having to scramble to find somebody. Also on late fees with the end of the event. Luckily, I've actually never had to enforce this actually, except, well, actually, I've never had to enforce it because when I should have enforced it, I didn't have the rule in place, which is why I came up with the rule in the first place. But if you choose to collect money at the end of your event, make sure that you have stated firmly in your contract that you will be charging late fees if the customer takes more than 2 or 3 days, whatever you need to pay you. I usually am flexible about that. And again, I've never really had a problem with that. Customers are really upfront. They really feel obligated to pay you, especially when you do a good job, and they don't want to beat you like that. But with that said, if that makes you feel better about charging the deposit and then collecting things at the end, you can put that clearly in your contract that the customer signs, that you will charge late fees for any payments that are overly past due, and that, again, by them signing that, that is legally enforceable in a court of law. Now, let's be honest, you're probably not going to chase a customer for $150, $200. That's up to you, but at least it gives you some sort of recourse and confidence to know that if you are going to charge at the end of your event, that's fine, you'll be paid, and that you have an enforcement system in place to ensure that eventuality. So with all that said, I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, make sure you click the like or subscribe button. As always, it's your boy Anton, aka Dr. Mix-a-Lot, signing off. Happy mixing, and cheers to unbeatable service.